In the vast and scorching wilderness, beneath the blazing sun, the people of Israel stood on the brink of a new beginning. After 40 years of wandering through desert sands and mountain peaks, after witnessing miracles and enduring trials, they found themselves at the edge of the land promised to their ancestors. Their leader, Moses, now an aged man whose eyes still shone with divine fire, knew that his time was drawing to a close. The moment had come for him to speak his final words, to pass on the torch, and to remind the people of the covenant they had with God. This scene, set on the plains of Moab, would become one of the most profound moments in their history, a farewell speech that would echo through eternity. Imagine yourself among the Israelites, weary yet hopeful, gathered around as Moses ascends a hill to survey the vast plains ahead. His steps are slow but deliberate, each movement filled with purpose. From this vantage point, he looks out over a multitude of tents and people, young and old, all waiting to hear the words of the man who had led them through slavery, through the Red Sea, and into the wilderness. Though his body is frail with age, his voice remains strong, carrying the weight of decades of divine guidance. He begins by recounting their journey, from the brutal oppression of Egypt to their miraculous deliverance. He speaks of the plagues, the parting of the Red Sea, the manna from heaven, and the water from the rock. Each story is etched into their collective memory, a testament to God's faithfulness. As Moses speaks, the crowd is transported back in time, their hearts stirred by the divine interventions that sustained them. He reminds them that their survival was never by their own strength but by God's mercy and power. Moses then turns to the purpose of his final address. He knows that the coming days would be filled with new challenges, entering a land filled with hostile nations, new gods, and pagan customs. The people must be prepared, not just physically, but spiritually. They are to be a holy nation, set apart for God's purposes. The laws that God had given them are not mere rules but a covenant, a sacred agreement based on love, obedience, and faithfulness. He calls the elders and chiefs to gather around him. Soon, a large crowd has formed, eager to listen to the words of their leader. Moses' voice is steady, yet filled with emotion. He speaks of the importance of remaining faithful to God. He warns them against the temptations they will face, idolatry, greed, and rebellion. These distractions threaten to turn their hearts away from the Lord. Yet, he encourages them with hope, reminding them that obedience to God's commandments will bring blessings, prosperity, peace, and divine favor. Moses recounts the history of their rebellion and disobedience, highlighting episodes such as the worship of the golden calf and the rebellion of Korah. His tone is serious but compassionate, emphasizing that God's patience is boundless but that disobedience carries consequences. He speaks of the blessings that follow faithfulness, fertile fields, abundant vineyards, victory over enemies, and security within their borders. But he also warns of curses, drought, defeat, exile, and dispersion if they turn away from God's laws. He then speaks directly to the individuals, urging them to choose life by loving God and obeying His commandments. He paints a vivid picture of what obedience entails, honoring parents, respecting others' property, acting justly, and walking in integrity. These laws are not arbitrary but rooted in God's love and desire for human flourishing. Moses shares a personal story of his own disobedience at Meribah, where he struck the rock instead of speaking to it as God commanded. That act cost him the privilege of entering the promised land, a solemn reminder that even the greatest leaders are accountable to God's commandments. With a voice filled with both authority and tenderness, Moses challenges the people, "Today I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore, choose life." His words resonate deeply, stirring a sense of responsibility. Every decision, every action, carries weight not only for themselves but for generations to come. He then turns to the future, speaking of the leader who will guide them into the land, Joshua. Though Moses' journey is ending, he commissions Joshua with these words, "Be strong and courageous, for you shall lead this people to inherit the land." He reminds Joshua that success depends not only on military might but on trusting in God's presence and guidance. He encourages the entire nation to be brave, to rely on God's promises, and to remember that their strength lies in their covenant with the Lord. As the sun begins to set, casting long shadows over the camp, Moses ascends Mount Nebo. From this high vantage point, he sees the land flowing with milk and honey, the land he will not enter but one he will glimpse through God's divine permission. His heart swells with joy for his people's future, yet also with sorrow that he will not be part of their journey into the promised land. Standing alone at the summit, Moses reflects on his life's path, from the prince of Egypt to the humble servant of God. His life has been a testament to faith, obedience, and divine purpose. Before he departs, God himself buries Moses in an unknown valley, preserving his sanctity and ensuring that his resting place remains sacred and hidden from idolatry. The news of Moses' death spreads quickly, and the people mourn him deeply for 30 days. They mourn not only the leader who delivered them from slavery but the prophet who had spoken to God face to face. In the days that follow, Joshua rises as their new leader, strong, brave, and filled with the Spirit of God. Moses' legacy lives on as he passes on the teachings, laws, and divine principles that would shape their national identity. With unwavering faith, the Israelites prepare to cross the Jordan River into the land of promise, carrying with them the lessons of Moses, reminding themselves of God's faithfulness and their sacred covenant. The journey ahead is filled with hope and uncertainty. They will face battles, temptations, and the challenge of building a new society rooted in divine law. Yet, Moses' final words echo in their hearts, "Choose life, that you may live." His call is timeless, urging each individual to live with faith, integrity, and love for God and neighbor. As they stand on the threshold of a new chapter, they are reminded that leadership is not just about commands or laws but about guiding hearts towards divine purpose. Moses' life exemplifies humility, perseverance, and unwavering trust in God's plan. His story teaches us that true leadership is rooted in service, moral courage, and faithfulness to the divine. In the centuries that follow, Moses' influence extends beyond Israel. His teachings become the foundation of moral and ethical systems across civilizations. The 10 Commandments, etched in stone, become a moral compass for humanity. The covenant between God and his people remains a guiding light, a reminder of divine love, justice, and righteousness. Even as the world changes, the lessons of Moses endure. His life reminds us that no matter how daunting the challenges, faith in God and obedience to his word can lead us into a future filled with hope and purpose. Leaders today can learn from his humility, his trust in divine guidance, and his unwavering commitment to justice and mercy. As we reflect on this story, let us consider our own lives. Are we living in accordance with divine principles? Are we passing on the truths we've received to future generations? Are we willing to choose life and blessings over curses and despair? Moses' journey calls each of us to live with integrity, faith, and love. Thank you for joining us today in exploring this powerful story from the Bible. If this message has touched your heart, please like, comment, and share with your friends and family. Subscribe to our channel for more in-depth stories from Scripture that inspire faith and wisdom. Let us spread the timeless truths of the Bible so that others may be encouraged to live lives of purpose, love, and obedience. May God's grace and guidance be with you always. Remember, the lessons of Moses and Deuteronomy are not just for ancient times but for every day of our lives. Walk in faith, lead with integrity, and choose life. Until our next story, may the peace of God fill your heart and guide your steps.